The entire universe, containing all the galaxies, stars, and planets, started with a single particle. This particle was the smallest, most fundamental of all particles. It is much smaller than a molecule, an atom, and even the electron. Scientists and researchers call it the God particle, because this particle created everything in existence, including our physical bodies and everything around us, both living and non-living things. Over 13 billion years ago, the very first ever God particle unfolded in a massive explosion known as the Big Bang. We all learned that the Big Bang spewed out a humongous amount of matter that expanded rapidly, forming the dark space, gases, stars, planets, and asteroids. How is it possible that such a tiny particle caused the creation of our gargantuan universe? I mean, it's an absolutely mind-boggling concept to comprehend. Although the scientific community reluctantly accepts the Big Bang theory, in reality, they secretly hate it because it defies all notions of scientific logic. Scientists ran tests after tests, models after models, trying to poke holes in the theory. And yet, they all came to the conclusion that the Big Bang theory was the only plausible explanation. The Big Bang theory was formulated in relatively modern times, in 1927 to be exact. And the authorship was credited to a religious Catholic priest who was also a scientist. So it seems that humans only just found out about the origins of the universe less than 100 years ago. In actual fact, the exact same theory was already described in 3 manuscripts from ancient China. The earliest appeared in the 5th century BC, more than 2,000 years ago. Until today, these manuscripts are still widely circulated in China and have already been translated to various languages around the world. These classics tell of the creation of the cosmos and many other earth-shattering secrets of the universe. Although the books are still widely available today, the problem is that the texts are written in an ancient Chinese language, which people have difficulty comprehending. In recent years, some scholars have interpreted the ancient texts using modern phrases, but people read them without gaining true understanding. It's like you watch a 17th century Shakespeare play today and then go home not knowing half of what's going on. The level of understanding of the universe in these classics far outstrips the level of modern-day science. The difference is like comparing a master's graduate course to that of kindergarten. This video is meant to inform you of the true principles of the universe. This is probably the first time you ever heard something like this. If you take the time to digest this video, I guarantee it is going to shatter your existing perspectives of life. Before the universe came into existence, there was nothingness. Then, the singularity came into existence. The singularity had no creator. It is the creator of the universe. The singularity is pure energy, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. The singularity pulled itself apart with a tremendous amount of explosive power, similar to a nuclear fission. Out poured enormous quantities of dark energy and dark matter that consolidated to form the universe. As the universe expanded, dark matter and dark energy began filling the empty space to form the elements, which are the basic building blocks of the galaxies, stars, planets, and asteroids. So the vast space that our spaceships and satellites fly in are actually not empty. It is filled with dark energy that came from the singularity. The universe originated from singularity. The singularity is smaller than the smallest particles detected by our microscopes. Modern science discovered evidence of the singularity only in 2012, barely a decade ago. It was named the Higgs boson, or the God particle. So we can think of the singularity as our creator. How is it possible for the tiniest particle to contain the entire universe within? The short answer is that the singularity is 4-dimensional. If you have watched the Netflix series, The Three-Body Problem, you will get some idea of what 4-dimensional is like. In that show, the aliens shoot a pair of tiny particles towards Earth. Upon arriving in our atmosphere, the particles unravel themselves to envelope our entire planet. The original author of this story was describing the same process of the singularity unfolding to form the universe. Let's do a comparison with our physical world. Humans are 3-dimensional. We live in a 3-dimensional world. Everything we can see, touch, taste, feel, and smell are 3-dimensional. However, our human consciousness is 4-dimensional. Some people call it our spirit or soul. The 4-dimensional consciousness is well documented by people who have gone through near-death experiences. Their descriptions of the 4th dimension are mostly identical. This cannot be explained by modern science yet. but was already well documented in the ancient manuscripts. When we pass on, our consciousness returns to the fourth dimension. In the fourth dimension, there is no pain, no emotions, no desires, only peace. Our consciousness cannot be destroyed in the fourth dimension. The underlying principle is that our consciousness is essentially energy. As we know from the law of physics, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Being in the fourth dimension allows us to continue witnessing events in the three-dimensional world. Heaven and hell both exist within the same universe as our human world. The difference is a matter of dimensions. The supernatural world exists in the fourth dimension, while humans exist in the three-dimensional world. All the deities and supernatural beings, worshipped by people throughout history, exist in the fourth dimension, the same as our consciousness. It is accurate to say that the four-dimensional world overlaps our 3D world. There are ways that humans can actually train ourselves to sense the fourth dimension, but we can't cross over, not unless we pass away. Now you may think, we humans are so disadvantaged as 3D creatures. We suffer pain and death. We endure our physical limitations. Why aren't we created as just four-dimensional beings? The reason is because of free will. Humans are given free will in exchange for the physical limitations of the 3D world, so that we do not interfere with the creation and expansion of the universe. We experience emotions, desires, and pain, because singularity provided us with the ability to freely choose our actions and reactions. In contrast, there is no more free will once you pass on into the fourth dimension. Your consciousness can no longer decide where to go or what to do. You no longer feel any emotions or desires. You simply exist as a formless consciousness. Whether you get sent to heaven, hell, or reborn into a new body, it's no longer within your control. Your deeds and actions before death are tallied instantly, and the destination is set. The singularity sends you on the way to the place you deserve. If your karma doesn't bring you entry into either heaven or hell, your consciousness continues to float around in the human world until it is time to be born again. The surprising thing about going to heaven and hell is that the destination is never eternal. I know this contradicts many holy books, but this is the truth. Even the worst genocidal maniacs of history get reborn after a punishing stint in hell. There is no everlasting stay in paradise or hell. Everyone gets a shot at a new human lifetime, with the same amount of free will once more. Only difference is that the conditions of the new life vary from person to person. The kind of family, the place we get reborn, the events we are destined to encounter, the sort of people we meet, are all determined by the karma of our past life. The singularity holds our consciousness until the celestial elements in the sky reflect the kind of karma we possess. Once the right combination appears, we are born into the three-dimensional world again. What is the criteria that differentiates between good and bad karma? It is based on whether our deeds are aligned with the principle of the singularity. Like all the scientific laws that we know of, the singularity has its own consistent, inviolable law. At its very core, the singularity is a particle of growth. It encourages creativity and expansion. It holds the same fundamental principle as the continuous expansion of the universe. The singularity wants to grow, and in order to grow, there must be righteousness, positivity, and genuine love. The polar opposite of the singularity is nothingness. It is like a black hole. Nothingness sucks in growth and destroys it. Evil, negativity, and hatred are the byproducts of nothingness. Remember, I mentioned that the universe began with a single tiny God particle in the midst of nothingness. In other words, the nothingness was already present before the universe came into existence 13 billion years ago. This means that nothingness is actually way bigger than the universe. It would be true to say that the universe is limited in scope, but nothingness has no actual limit. Since nothingness is much bigger than the universe, the pull by the negative is also a lot stronger than the positive. It is incredibly easy for people to fall under the influence of the nothingness. It is a binary situation. Either you are aligned with the principle of singularity, or you are working against it. There is no in-between. There is no neutral ground. Let's consider the universe. Scientists have confirmed that the universe is continually expanding since its first day of creation. It hasn't stopped growing at any moment. The universe is never static. Dark energy and dark matter are constantly interacting and consolidating to form new elements, planets, stars, and galaxies. Because the universe works according to the principle of the singularity, which is growth. An average man may think that he has adequate resources and decides not to grow or create anymore. So he kicks back and relaxes, no longer pursuing any kind of growth or creative activity. He assumes that he is just stagnating and is fine with it. In actual fact, this man has become a net negative. He is simply consuming and not producing. Thus, he begins to accumulate negative karma. There is no neutral ground. Either you are working with the growing singularity, or you have fallen into destructive nothingness. The vast majority of people unwittingly go against the singularity. Most people have no idea they are working against the principle of growth and accumulating negative karma. That's when poverty, sickness, depression, pain, and failure enter the life of negative karma. As our consciousness and physical bodies originate from the singularity, our only true purpose and mission is to align with the singularity and return to the principle of growth. The real proper usage of our free will is to grow individually and to help other people grow. We are not here to compete with others. Competition is an extension of nothingness, and its very act is taking away something from other people. Competition works against the singularity as it is an act of reduction, not growth, and it accumulates negative karma. In order to align with singularity, we have to ensure our thoughts, words, and deeds are based on the creative plane. Most people wrongly believe that the world is limited, that resources are limited, when the opposite is true. How can our world be limited when the universe is still expanding non-stop to this day? The same singularity which built the universe also created our human consciousness and our physical bodies. Since the singularity is able to manifest and expand the universe, we being one and the same with singularity also manifest our own life according to what we are. Other living creatures, like animals and plants, do not have the same kind of four-dimensional consciousness as humans. What the non-human living things have is a sort of programming imbued in them by the singularity. It is like a software that has specific instructions for them to act and behave in certain ways according to the situation. Unlike humans, they do not have the capacity for high-level thinking and free will. Too many people believe that everything is limited and they need to compete intensely for resources. This mindset of scarcity is causing all the problems in the world right now. Criminals believe they can only get what they want by stealing from others. Rogue governments believe they can only stay in power by oppressing their own people. Unscrupulous business people believe they can only survive by scamming their customers and sabotaging other businesses. Ill-informed workers believe they can only get ahead by harming their colleagues. We humans are also creators, just like the singularity. The only difference is a matter of scale. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people use their creative power to manifest more negativity in their lives by engaging in behavior that clashes with the singularity. Remember this, we humans are created by singularity with the principle of growth, not scarcity. We should work in tandem with the principle of growth in order to accumulate positive karma and manifest a positive life. Our life is in our own hands. Make good use of free will to your advantage. All this information comes from the 3 ancient manuscripts written more than 2,000 years ago in ancient China. Before you dismiss this video, know that modern science just proved the existence of the singularity 12 years ago. None of the texts in the ancient classics contradicts what science has discovered so far. The Big Bang Theory, the ever-expanding universe, dark energy filling the vast space, even the existence of human consciousness after death. Most of the unhappiness that trouble people comes about because most do not know what is the meaning of life. I sincerely urge more people to view this video often and gain a deeper understanding of where we come from, what is our purpose here, and where we are going.